1957, Arkansas. The nation was riveted by the Little Rock Nine, 9 black teenagers who were set to integrate Little Rock Central High School. But it seemed the entire state of Arkansas meant to stop them. The governor called out the National Guard, not to protect the students, but to block their entrance to school. And threatening white students jeered them at every turn. Finally, the black students were allowed to enter the school through a side door, and the white mob erupted in a riot.
Mob rule can not be allowed to override the decisions of our courts.
President Eisenhower sent over 1,000 members of the 101st Airborne Division to Little Rock to escort the students to school. But once inside the schoolhouse doors, the Little Rock Nine found that their struggles for respect and equality had only just begun. What was that first day like?
When we finally got in, we had armed escorts. We had people with guns standing outside the classroom.
That's right. At one point, it was totally silent. And then all these children standing and bending out of the windows screaming, boo, boo.
It was an atmosphere of hostility, of war. So you put on your armor, turn your face into your game face, and got ready to go to war. There were teachers that were helpful. There were others who were indifferent. And then there were some who were beyond indifferent.
Yeah, war.
They were part of the war.
That's right.
You have no doubt that these are people intent on doing great harm and bodily injury.
A lot of people from out of town. My mother-in-law almost got hanged that day. People with ropes circled underneath their arm and over their shoulder, as they put it, ready to do business, ready to hang a nigger.
Joining me now are 3 of the white students who admit in one form or another to being part of that ugliness in Little Rock. This is Ann Burleson as she appeared in 1957. She was chanting the words 2468, we don't want to integrate. And Ann says she is now ashamed of that schoolyard chant. Jean Porter regrets being a silent witness to the crimes by fellow white students, including seeing them put thumbtacks on Melba's chair and also witnessing boys in gym urinating on the lockers of Ernest Green. And David Sontag came here today, he says, to apologize to Minnie Jean for an altercation in the cafeteria. So you came here today, what?
I am genuinely sorry for any negative things that I did at that time. I was really acting as a child that was not prepared. But it was not done out of hate.
What was it done out of?
It was just done out of ignorance. Of not understanding her plight, and the plight of all of them. We didn't really know. We weren't walking in their shoes. We didn't put ourselves in their shoes. And I know that I didn't treat them the way I would have wanted to be treated.
Does his apology mean anything to you?
I would like to come forward and
a lot.
apologize to her.
Yeah, it means a lot to us.
I want to get out here. I wish you all the good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And you better listen than you.
And you got pulled out of school after 1 month. Your parents did, right? Because
yes. I was raised in a racist family. I can't tell you things that was said in my home, and I'm sorry about that.
what were they saying to you at home?
You're not going to school with those niggers. And it was awful. And the main reason I want to be here today is to tell you how regretful I am for causing what should have been the best year of your life the most miserable. I went along because I was afraid. You can't imagine for 38 years how badly I have felt. That does not do anything for what happened. That does not, I'm just sorry.
You were taught racism at home. Did you break that chain at home with your children?
I broke that chain with my children.
And that's very, very key to me.
That's what I think I've done right.
Gene, are you sorry? Did you?
Yes, I am sorry. Certainly. I felt powerless. Also, peer pressure has a lot to do when you're at that age.
Well, and I think Jean represented probably the bulk of students that did nothing.
Right.
I mean, it was silence. It's the great silence. It's the silence. It's the people who don't speak up And if there's any lesson to be learned, now 30, almost 40 years now, hopefully somebody watches this show and will be moved enough to stand up for something that's right.
I love that moment in the show because it's a reminder to all of us of what Dr. King said. In the end, we will remember not the words of our enemies, but the silence of our friends.